Well, hello, welcome to Business Morning. It's a TGIF trade right here in Lagos, Nigeria. And today, the last trading week of November, that ends today. Was it a November to remember for your portfolio? Hopefully, you took some advice from me. And it's also Black Friday, and I'm hoping you're getting the best, discounts out there. But let's kick off with what played out in the markets yesterday. Nigeria's equities market started the week on a positive note, adding about 111 billion in market value, but a strong interest in MTN Nigeria and 32 other gainers. That lifted the market, even though it's been quite a choppy week this week. Started off, in the red, but there we have it. Just two positive trades so far this week. 143,000. We did lose that level, but got back above it, 0.12%. See the market capitalization there, 91 trillion. Let's look at trading activity yesterday. We see okay, for top trades, Fidelity Bank, 32.19 million, UBA. So we're seeing financial services there, top of the top trades counter, for yesterday. And we see volume value deals. That was in the red, even though the all-share index did rise yesterday. So, but we see with less volume, less value. That means this rally wasn't that strong and maybe might not continue in this TGIF trade. But who knows? Things might change. At this point, it's a dynamic market. Now we see top gainers there. Link Insurance, top of the counter, 10% rise, 1 naira 87. Cover Ikeja Hotel, 27 naira 50. Then we see Learn Africa also on the top gainers chart. So that might give you direction on what to expect for top gainers in today's trade. We'll see if they continue, or maybe we'll see profit taking today. So big news now in the market. Central Securities Clearing System, they've taken a major step towards modernizing Nigeria's capital market, officially rolling out the T+2 settlement cycle today, Friday, 28 November 2025. In a statement, the CSCS said the shift from the long-standing T+3 settlement marks a significant upgrade in the country's post-trade infrastructure and reinforces, the market's commitments to aligning with global best practices. So, in simple terms, what this means is the day you make that transaction, maybe you're selling a stock, normally it will take 3 days, 3 working days before you get, settlement and get money, in your account. But now it's 2 days. And we hear, going forward, hopefully it's going to be T+1 at some point and then T. But we're starting, slowly now. So it's T+2 at this point. We'll see how that plays out for that's if you're selling today. We'll see when you get your, transaction settled. That should be Tuesday, next week. Let's get a check on the oil market now. We see Brent crude oil futures. The rose today, as drawn out Russian-Ukraine peace talks, they kept geopolitical risk, elevated. So we're seeing Brent playing out. That's the price, $63.56 a barrel, up 0.35%. WTI crude this week, trading sub 60, this week. And the way it's looking, maybe might try to make a run for $60 per barrel today, but we'll see if that plays out. 0.73% up though, smack on at $59.08. So that's the play right there in the oil market. So other stories now. The National Insurance Commission has set July next year as deadline for the issuance of license to insurance and reinsurance companies that meet the new minimum capital requirement. That's the MCR. The Commissioner for Insurance, Mr. Olusegun Mosen, who made this known in a statement, says the timeline, which coincides with the industry recapitalization deadline, is to ensure effective implementation of the Nigerian Insurance Industry Reform Act. That's NIRA 2025. And also on the tax front now, Nigeria's company income tax receipts surged in the first half of 2025, hitting 4.76 trillion naira. That's a 38% jump from the same period last year, according to fresh data from the National Bureau of Statistics. The sharp rise was driven almost entirely by domestic companies whose tax contributions soared despite weaker inflows from foreign firms. CIT collections climbed from 1.98 trillion in Q1 to about 2.78 trillion in Q2, a strong 40% quarter-on-quarter increase. Year-on-year, Q2 revenue was up 13%, while domestic payments alone rose more than 250% from the previous quarter, and 71% compared to Q2 2024, highlighting the growing tax strength of local businesses. Yeah, so we're all counting down to next year and see how the whole tax reforms play out for businesses and also big businesses and individuals. All right, to some company news now. Skincare giant Nivea, they launched a new consumer campaign, the Win Your Share of 3 billion naira promo, aimed at rewarding loyal customers and attracting new ones. According to the company's management, the initiative reflects Nivea's deep appreciation and care for its customers and consumers, with participants standing a chance to win prizes, including a brand new car, a trip to Spain, and many more rewards. Take a listen.
Now to our loyal consumers.
In its continued commitment to giving back to its consumers, Nivea, one of the world's leading skincare brands, has unveiled the Nivea Win Your Share of 3 billion naira campaign, a promotional initiative to reward loyal consumers and attract new customers, which will run up until March 2026.
The prizes are designed to just encourage people to participate at all levels. Everybody's going to win something. So at the very, very least, you will win airtime. And the airtime is not only for one network, it is for all networks.
The country manager of BSDOF Nigeria, Dele Adeyole, reiterates the company's care and appreciation for its consumers through this campaign.
This is another way for us to show care for the Nigerian consumer that has stuck with us and make Nivea the #1 undisputed brand in Nigeria for so long. And it's our way of just giving back. Especially in this festive season, this is the best time to give back, right? And we are putting 3 billion naira investment on the table to say thank you for sticking with Nivea.
The company management rolls out more information on participation in this offer.
At the end of the promotion, we would have had 120 people that would have won 1 million naira per week, as well as 600 people that would have gotten the 50,000 naira voucher. And at the end, we will take all the entries that have participated through the duration of the promotion and reward them as follows. One person will win 5 million naira, somebody else will win 3 million naira, and the last person will win 2 million naira. In addition to this, we'll be giving away 3 SUVs to lucky winners, and last but not least, we will be flying 10 people to Spain to go and watch Real Madrid live.
So for every shopper that buys and enjoys the airtime, you can only participate 3 times for the draw. But for the airtime, it's as many bottles that you buy. Once you scratch, you enjoy 1,000 airtime.
All it takes is to purchase any Nivea product that has the promo stickers, scratch the panel for a pin, text the pin to the code 7022, the unique pin hashtag, to win these prizes.
So overall, we are really committed in Nigeria as a market, and since Nigerian consumers have rewarded us their loyalty, we also need to reward them back by making sure that in this festive period, they have something to smile about.
Nivea, a brand with more than 130 years experience, is deeply rooted in the values of unity and inclusivity, with over 50 products available in more than 170 countries around the world.
All right, now to our first conversation. We're taking a closer look at how Nigeria's e-commerce landscape is performing, during this year's Black Friday period. One of the biggest shopping moments of the year, from, shifting consumer behavior to the impact of, elevated inflation, even though inflation has been dropping. We look at platform performance, category trends. I will unpack, the shopper activity and, what to expect, for this holidays, when it comes to shopping and, if these companies are making sales. Join us for this conversation now. We have Dave Morige, is a Group Chief Operating Officer at Konga. Join me right here in studio. It's great to have you.
Happy pleasure to be here.
Happy Black Friday.
Thank you.
At this point.
Thank you.
While I was, surfing the internet, I was just seeing everywhere, Black Friday deal, 50% off, 40% off, 20% off, big, discounts. And I'm wondering, some of these discounts, are they real? At this point, in your opinion, because we've been talking about, the cost of living crisis, at this point, and definitely we know the average consumer has been through it, in 2025. So, in your view, I know you have access to most of the back ends, your platforms. What are you seeing? Are the consumers strong?
Ladi, thank you so much for the opportunity. So, I'd always say it, that people think that what we do is gimmick, that there's a stunt behind it, but it's not the truth. We take a lot of time to prepare for this event, right? It climaxes today. I can tell you, for instance, that you would go on my website and you would see a phone, a smartphone, that is as low as 50,000 naira. You can't beat that price. Is it a laptop? Currently, I have a laptop that's about 334K. Decent, not refurbished. So saying that it is a stunt, no, it's not a stunt.
So the discounts are real?
Very real, very real.
But how
real.
are the consumers reacting, in your opinion? This year, it's been a tough year. What have you seen so far? And do you think the consumers are ready to take advantage, of some of these discounts?
The experience has been, for when you compare year over year, 25 versus 2024, on all our major indicators, right, we've seen what we've done, we've outperformed the performance for our last year, right? If you look at it in terms of our GMV, major driver, our order volumes, traffic to websites, we've seen very healthy double-digit growth, right? That's what we've seen.
So regardless of inflation being elevated, the Nigerian consumer is still out there shopping.
The Nigerian consumer is a very special consumer. So the year is a lot better than what we experienced last year with volatility around FX. There was sufficient time to plan suppliers, product availability, product assortment. So on the buyer side, what has happened is that they took their time, they've kept their funds. It is a time to upgrade their devices. It is a time to stock up. So in all, you would say that with even the position for inflation, right, people, despite that, have planned for this event, and we've seen it reflect in the patronage on the website. You must be aware that inflation is at its lowest since 2023. It was announced, I think, 16% in October. So
about 18%.
I think so. 16,
we go
16,
lower
16
than 18?
in October it was 16.
Yeah, but I know we've been on that downtrend
yes,
for a while now.
Yes. And what really does that mean? It means that there's more purchasing power, right? It means that people are more receptive.
Even though some say they can't feel it, they can't feel it at the stores.
What we just see is that there is a lot of focus on essentials. People spend a lot of time trying to compare prices before making the buying decision. And also, as a business, what we've tried to do is we've positioned very well. We have deal windows, and these guys are constantly on the website trying to look at what we have and take advantage of them.
All right. So what do you think Nigerians are buying a lot this time? Is it gadgets? What are they piling cash into?
So what we see in the numbers would be everything around phones and tablets, computing, electronics, home and kitchen items. These are the major categories that have driven the growth this season. Because we are very laser focused on trying to service our customers, what we've done is we have a great array of products that we've displayed on the platform, waiting for consumers to come patronize us.
Right. So, definitely seeing inflation rate about 16.05% in October. And definitely analysts have talked about, the base year effect, and, when we had to, tweak the basket, when it comes to inflation. That's why we're seeing this, big drop. We know where we were before the rebasing.
You want to refer to the CPI?
Yeah. So I'm just wondering, because most of the time, we've talked about foreign exchange, how that volatility, takes inflation up, in Nigeria, and mostly in the urban centers. And the urban centers, we import more. We use more foreign goods. So that will play into foreign goods prices, I believe. So are we seeing that drop in inflation?
Yes.
when it comes to foreign goods?
Yes, yes. We are seeing very positive indicators, right, from the buying and from the demand and the supply side, right? So when you compare year over year, there was a lot of buyer trepidation for 2024. That's not what we have in the current year, right? People have come all out. It's been a month-long campaign, right? Like I would say, the platform that we have is not just an online platform. We're able to meet our customers in using our retail outlets, right? We have in Lagos, for instance, over 10 outlets, and per Nigeria over about 25, right? So what we do really is we are bringing best pricing, best assortment to our customers across the different categories.
Right. I'm talking about customers now. Any heavy consumer behavior shift? You notice anything?
What we're seeing is that customers are spending a lot of time on the website, like I said, trying to do price comparison. There is a major focus on essentials, value for money products, right? Value for money. They're also very brand sensitive. They are brand sensitive because there's direct implication to their post. And what we have as a business is, we have investors that understand the climb, and everything that we have on course is trying to do all that we can in terms of making these products available, supporting the business with even other business verticals. For instance, we've done really well with our partnership with L'Oreal. We are a major distributor with L'Oreal, and as I speak to you today, products will be discounted and as low as 50% on some select products. Customers are able to have access to that on the platform. And another thing that I see standing out in the current year would be that the Elon Musk's product, the Starlink, the satellite internet, has really done very well. Nigerians have been very receptive to that product. I didn't really expect that they would be that receptive.
All right, let's look at Nigerian sellers.
Yes.
At this point, how are they doing? How have the sellers performed? And are they in that giving spirits? Really, when it comes to giving out discounts.
So I was coming here this morning and I saw that one of the supermarkets around where I live, right, that they were stacking their products, getting ready for today's Black Friday. In the time past, it's not something that is common experience. So saying that people are very deliberate, it is not a conversation for online only anymore. It's now a conversation that sits both offline and online. And that's major progress for us.
Right.
Yes, yes.
All right, so, festivities, they're upon us, at this point. What are you seeing for, gifting? Do you think Nigerians are going to be gifting a lot this season?
Okay, we do corporate, right? So as of today, we have a lot of requests where corporates are asking for gift items, and we are curating these deals for them. Yes. So yes, we see the demand.
Right.
We see the demand.
So Nigerians, businesses, households, still ready to give gifts.
They are ready to.
This season.
Surprisingly, they are ready to give gifts. They're comfortable. They're ready to give gifts.
Fantastic.
Yes.
I guess I love to hear that at this point, because definitely 2025 has
been tough, but in terms of the business, what we've seen is recovery.
Right.
Recovery.
And I guess
across board.
Thanks to foreign exchange.
Absolutely.
Foreign exchange stability.
Absolutely.
Thanks to the rebasing, taking inflation, downwards. And I guess the urban side of things easing, when it comes to prices. So do you think 2026 would still be
better,
great?
yeah.
Would it be better, or
it will be better
for consumers?
Absolutely.
And sellers?
For consumers and sellers.
We'll all be happy?
Everybody
2026.
will be happy. Absolutely.
Fantastic.
Yes.
All right, I share your optimism there. Thank you so much, Dave. Morige is the Group Chief Operating Officer at Konga.
Absolutely.
Thank you so
you.
much.
It's been a pleasure speaking with you.
Thank you. All right, we'll take a break now. When we come back, we'll review what played out. That's for the Nigerian stock market. Was it a November to remember? We'll find out. That's in a moment. Just stay with us. All right, now we're reviewing activity on the Nigerian exchange for the month of November, a period marked by notable market movements and shifting investor sentiment. We also unpack how the all-share index performed, key drivers behind market gains, pullbacks, and what the trends, what it tells us about the year, as it's winding down. At the same time, capital market enters a new phase of efficiency with a T+2 settlement cycle officially going live today. Joining us for this conversation now, we have Mr. Olatunde Amolegbe. He's the MD after Stephen Asset Management. Great to have you on the show, sir, and good morning.
Good morning, Ladi. Thanks for having me.
Fantastic.
And happy T+2 day.
Happy T+2 day. Happy Black Friday. Hopefully, investors are able to get discounts with some of these stocks.
Absolutely.
Today.
They're already getting discount by getting their money earlier than they typically will.
Right. Instead of 3 working days, it's just 2 now, and hopefully it gets lower, as we move forward. But how would you assess the NGX all-share index performance in November? We've seen it's down about 7%, so far, this month. What would you say played out?
Well, I mean, there was that unusual movement we saw about a week ago. It accumulated the market dropping significantly by about 5%. But other than that particular day, for me, I think that most of the activities we actually saw were the normal cyclical movement of the market. The market has gone up close to 50% this year. At some point, as we move towards the close of the year, you will see people trying to rebalance their books. You will see some people trying to take profits. And, when you take profits, you see prices coming down. For me, the fundamentals are still strong. The weakness, if you will call it that, we've seen in November, is not something to worry about. It just presents an opportunity for people that are not in the market to also come in. The macros are strong. The market fundamental itself is strong. So really, there's not much to worry about if we have had a relatively soft November. All in all, I think we're still closing. We're still going to close positive anyway. So it's still nothing to worry about as far as I'm concerned.
Right.
The large dip we saw sometime last week. Was an unusual movement, and I think the market has essentially corrected at the moment.
Right, and talking about year-to-date gains, returns for the all-share index, I guess that's still intact, but it's below 40%.
Yes.
Now I think around maybe 38, 39%, so far. That's for the gains for the all-share index, this year. And, we've had a couple of stocks also, do well in November. Which stocks, stood out for you this month?
Well, I mean, the consumer goods companies will continue to do well, and they've done quite well in November. So the likes of PZ, the likes of Boa Cement, the likes of Boa Foods, the likes of Cadre, and it is expected that they were going to do well because, in as much as we continue to have a stable exchange rate, as much as we continue to have starts to inch downwards, all of that are positive for the consumer goods companies and the real sector company, the industrials. So the likes of Dangote Cement and Co. will continue to benefit from stable, stable exchange rates and lower interest rates. So the consumer goods and the industrials will continue to do well as far as our own analysis is telling us.
All right, so, looking at the month of November, down about 7% so far, depending on what plays out today in the markets for this TGIF trade. So would you say it's a no-brainer, at this point? Because this is the month before December. Is it a no-brainer that investors would like to take some money off the table to have fun and maybe get a dirty December? So it's a no-brainer for the market to drop in November. Is that a sentiment?
Absolutely. That's a trend. I mean, if you look at the 10-year chart, that's what it has always told you, that December will see rebalancing, will see increase in consumption. So people will sell investments in order to take care of their December expenses, and also prepare, of course, for January when school fees will be paid and all of that. So we do not typically see a December where stock prices rise. Typically, you see a December where there's paring down of stock prices. But like I always say, as people are exiting, it also presents an entry opportunities for people that are not there and that do not have significant consumption needs, to go in at prices that will typically be cheap. I mean, look at it as of November, I believe MTN was 520 naira at some point at the height. Now we're looking at MTN at 470, despite the fact that we know that the fundamental of that company is still very strong. All right, so what you are seeing, the price drops we are seeing they don't have anything to do with the fundamentals of this company. So they provide an entry point. So it's really not anything that any serious investor should worry about, that prices are coming down. If prices come down in December, typically that's what we expect to happen. As a matter of fact, if we see a rise in prices in December, that would be the anomaly rather than the usual.
Right, exactly. All right, let's take it on to the settlement cycle now, officially going live today. That's T+2. How excited, are stakeholders today?
We are really, really excited about this. We are really excited because, for one, we are moving in a direction that is faster than our competitors. And what I mean by that is this: New York Stock Exchange is T+1. London Stock Exchange is T+2. South Africa Stock Exchange, which is our closest rival in the African subcontinent, is T+3. Now Nigeria is T+2. Now you know that most of the foreign investors that are coming into our country are either coming from the US or they are coming from the UK. Now that our settlement cycle has moved closer to those markets, it means that we will become more competitive in terms of the flow of investment into our market as compared to what might be going to South Africa, for instance. So we'll expect more liquidity to come towards us because of this change in settlement cycle. In addition to that, the shorter settlement cycle also means that the settlement risk is also reduced for investors, both retail and institutional investors. So this is a very good move on the part of Nigeria. Also, if you look at it, the settlement from the bond market and the equities market there used to be a congruence there. The bond market has always settled T+2. The equities market was settling T+3. Now that this equities market has also moved to T+2, it means that I can sell my bonds and use my cash to buy equities on the same day, knowing fully well that those two instruments will settle on the same day. So we are really, really excited about this, and it shows that the reforms that is being championed by the likes of the SEC, that is being championed by the NGX, that is being championed by CSCS, is moving in the right direction, and it can only be good for the Nigerian stock markets, because in terms of liquidity, in terms of reduction in risk and increase in participation, this is a brilliant move.
Right, and definitely, I can feel the pain of an investor maybe trying to exit a stock. Maybe you're trying to sell one stock and go into another one that you think might do very well, and you have to wait 3 days to get that money to put it in the other stock that you want to buy. But I guess that's cut down now to 2 days. That's the wait at this point. Do you think, when are we getting to T? Because I guess that's why when you look at most of these crypto trading apps, you could quickly sell a crypto asset and go into another one immediately. I guess that's one of the attractions there for the use. Do you see us getting to T?
Yeah.
Soon?
Well, I guess with the increase in technology and with AI and the likes, we will ultimately get to that point. But I must say that there's no market in zero at the moment. The shortest settlement cycle is New York, which is T+1. But I guess that with AI, with 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 the technology available in the market and with the consensus in the market within the industry, we will move towards T+0 at some point. But achieving T+0 is not such that will be limited to the market. You need other the clearing houses and the likes of the Bank of International Settlement to be involved for us to get to the point where settlement can get to T+0. But I would say that we're at T+3, we're at T+2 now. In good time, we should move quickly towards T+1, such that our market can continue to be a standard bearer, not only in Africa, but ultimately amongst the top stock markets in the world. So right. we're close to that now. We're at the same level with UK. So that says quite a lot. So but with technology, I'm sure that T+0 is not very far away from the horizon too.
Right, and do you think, for this trade, the TGIF trade today, seeing that T+2 is going live today, do you think investors are going to get so excited that all they want to do is sell today so that they can get settlement on Tuesday?
Well, I mean, I hope so. I hope so. I mean, it will take time for people to adjust typically, but I mean, this clearly is a positive signal, particularly to the international community, that this country and this market is making great strides. So it's a positive signal. I suspect that investors will take advantage of it, and it says. I mean, I would actually like to go back to that. What you have said about comparison of our market with the crypto market and the fact that people can sell crypto and get their cash the same day. The fact that we are doing this also shows that, my understanding is that crypto trades about $50 million or thereabouts in a month in Nigeria. So if this move towards T+2 helps us to attract a chunk of that market, all well and good for the market and for the investors in the market.
All right, definitely. We'll be tracking today's trade as T+2 goes live today. But what are you expecting in the trading month of December?
December is what you will refer to as a slow month. As you have mentioned, dirty December is not leaving anybody behind. So people will go on holidays. It's typically a short month. But all in all, I mean, what we have predicted at the beginning of the year, what our analysts have predicted is that the market will, the Ocean Index will end at about 39%, at 39% up. We are close to that now, and we are sticking by that prediction. We still feel that the market will end the year at about that 39% up. So we are not expecting anything, any extraordinary move, if you will, for the month of December. Of course, typically towards the end of the month and towards the end of the year, you will see portfolio managers rebalancing their books and the likes of that. So you expect more activities to happen towards the end of the year. But all in all, we are not expecting anything unusual to happen, towards the end of the year. The fact that the NPC also decided to hold rates at the levels they were for the next quarter also shows that there might not be any significant trigger, if you will, that will lead to significant market movement. So we expect December to be a steady month, so to say.
Right. I guess some traders would take a break, try and have fun, smell the roses. Yes. This December. Thank you so much. It was great having your perspective, Mr. Olatunde Amolegbe, as the MD at the Stephen Asset Management. Thank you so much, TGIF. Enjoy your weekend.
Thanks for having me, Lady.
All right, we'll take a moment now. When we come back, we'll explore what's playing out in Nigeria's blockchain and digital assets industry. That's at the moment. Just stay with us. All right, now we're turning our attention to Nigeria's rapidly evolving digital asset landscape. In recent weeks, the House of Representatives have held consultations with, regulators and key industry players as part of efforts to, develop a clear regulatory framework and ultimately a legislative bill for cryptocurrency and digital assets to the country. It's a pivotal moment, for the ecosystem with implications for innovation, consumer protection, market stability, and Nigeria's position in the global digital economy. I'm joined today by leading voices in the crypto space to unpack what these engagements mean. Let's talk to Olusegun Koshemani, is the Chief Executive Bitcoin Manager at BotMeCash. We have Oye Shobowale Benson, Sovereign Blockchain Architect, and they're joining me right here in the studio, spending their Friday, their TGIF, with us. Great to have you both.
Nice to be here.
Fantastic. So we're seeing all of these consultations. I did see, pictures, recently of, industry leaders, talking with, the legislature, trying to get direction, for this this industry that everyone is trying to understand. We've been trying to understand it for so many years. Now we don't know who created Bitcoin. Mm-hmm. We're not even there yet, at this point. But talk to me about the overall mission, of these consultations you've had so far. I know you guys were right there.
All right. So the biggest problem with this space in Nigeria is fragmentation. Okay, you have the executive working on what they're working on. You have innovators, builders working on what they're working on as well. Then you also have foreign interests. There's interest in Nigeria because you were ahead in adoption. And this was caused because people were hedging in FX when the Naira was unstable. But now we thank the CBN and things are looking bright. So there's no need for that any longer. What we need to do is unify, because we already have this high adoption. So when we unify and we get a bill or regulation in order, hopefully through the committee, once we get this in order, then everybody knows their roles. SEC should be focused on these investments. CBN should manage monetary control, while tax should be handled by FIRS.
All right, so, definitely, it seems like, when I started first hearing about regulating, cryptocurrency, digital assets, to me, I was like, let me see how this is going to go. Because it seems like it's a segment that is hard to actually get the right rules, for. In your opinion, how did these consultations go? Do you think we got more confused?
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much, Ladi. And that's a very tricky question.
Right.
Only the truth can help us. Where we are right now, like Oye rightly said, it's a very pivotal moment, like you also said in the beginning. We are at a crossroad and we must come together, work together. The National Assembly Committee on Cryptocurrency Adoption for Economic Stability, yada, yada, is doing something very unique at this time, because this is the first time in the history of Nigeria where you have securities and stakeholders come together just for one purpose. So I think during the hearings, we were able to achieve one thing. We need a harmonized, synchronized, properly documented cryptocurrency blockchain laws, bills. Not the ones we kind of have now.
What do we have now?
Okay, so we have some guidelines and framework. It's awesome what the SEC has with ISA 25, right? But there are subtle imperfections that can affect the space because we don't have a proper market structure bill and some, clarity. And we have the NTAA by the NRS, the former FIRS, Section 79, 5th Schedule, which also talks about virtual assets, right? It's beautiful, But the blockchain space is bigger than virtual assets. So I think what we got from the hearing is this is an opportunity for Nigeria, protect Nigeria's monetary space, encourage job creation, develop capacity, at the same time generate revenue. But we have to be very careful doing it. It shouldn't be fragmented. Like Oye said, it must be done together. We must come together, and there must be separations of deliverables and oversight functions. The market must be about Nigeria first, and the only way that can be done is at the National Assembly. The right laws must be put in place, and everybody must come together. I think that's what we got from there.
But what if, even in that fragmentation, is it possible that they kind of align, the different, regulators and stakeholders somehow? It just aligns, even though it's fragmented. Is it possible?
There's no, I don't think, they can, that's a paradox, fragmentation and align. You cannot align when you are fragmented. It's not possible. What you are doing, you're creating gray areas, which foreign companies like Tether can explore, because they have a training going on now. So what are they training people on? Are they training people to further dollarize our economy, or they are training them to adopt Bitcoin and a stable coin, Nigerian-backed stable coin? So fragmentation creates gray areas, and there has to be clarity for us to go forward. CBN is doing a good job, FIRS is doing a good job, but we need to be aligned.
Right. And talking about, alignment, you've also, there's also been that talk about how, digital assets kind of impact the sovereignty, of a nation. What you did talk about dollarization, and all of that. So, break it down for me, that nexus between, sovereignty, digital assets, and, getting this framework right.
All right, so that's a tough one. not a tough one, but I don't know if I have enough time. But my background was in TradFi for like 14 years. I went, and the difference with DeFi
and when
is...
it says TradFi, it means traditional finance, for some of us that don't know.
All right, so that's my background. So obviously I know how financial systems work. But what we have here with the DLT, that's distributed ledger technology, is innovative. We can clear so many gray areas, I've seen how processes could fail, oversight could fail, but we could capture all this under the DLT. So what we need to... You asked another question. I forget the second part of your question.
So, in that whole alignment, how does it impact that's sovereignty, at this point? How does it, we talked about dollarization, so it's like it's more negative, for sovereignty, when you allow, most of these...
Yeah, so these guys come in, and the rails are not owned by Nigerians, so they are foreign rails. So the CBN doesn't really have oversight, or the FIRS, they can't really see what's going on. So this is even... They can fund instability. It can be paid through that. So sovereignty has so many angles. So we need to have Nigerian rails, Nigerian stablecoin, and
when
possibly...
you say Tether, that's the platform
USDT.
USDT, yes. That's a stable coin.
Yes.
The most popular one
in the whole world.
In the world right now.
So when you have a regulated framework, you can have Bitcoin and a Nigerian-backed stablecoin. Those are the only two coins or digital assets that should have monetary rules. Everything else should be scrutinized first before they come in, because we have a big market. So before you let people into your market, you have to, regulate and make sure there are rules, designate roles, so to say. So
right. All right. So Segun, at this point, you did talk about when we had the issue, instability, with the naira. Definitely we're tending towards 2K to the dollar at some point. Then remember that. Binance, got into issues, with their P2P, platform. But I don't think we're having any of that issue right now, since the naira has been stable.
No. So we have a president who doesn't want or like issues. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, since he has come in, if you observe, especially for the monetary space, it's been more of how can I help this emerging sector. Firstly, Governor Cardoso eased the sanctions that was on banking, with the virtual assets.
When you say ease the sanctions, when you go on the P2P platforms, you still see most of those buyers and sellers there saying, please don't write anything about crypto.
Because the P2P
CBN
market
will block your
is not
account.
largely regulated.
Okay.
But the CBN governor, ease all that post-no debit issues of cryptocurrency accounts and regular financial rails. You can now do that, but you would need guidelines and framework, proper compliance from the SEC, and of course report, to the NFIU, and maybe clearance from the ONSA. Right now, they are getting to understand it even more. I have been a part of multiple, sessions with the Nigerian Financial Intelligence Unit, where, it's about compliance and reporting transactions. That's pretty much what the FG wants. But until the NFIU, SEC, Central Bank, FIRS involve actively the stakeholders, the entire, holistically, what we would be able to achieve would fetch Nigeria more than $1 trillion in economic returns.
Because I was going to ask, what's in it for Nigeria, with Bitcoin and cryptocurrency adoption? Have you given me a figure there?
Yes, it could be $5 trillion, as a matter of fact. Look, the US is trying to set up a strategic Bitcoin reserve. There is even a Bitcoin bill, going to the Congress, sponsored by a rep member. And they are obviously, shipping their own inflation with this new day cryptographic money, stablecoin, to places where they need them. And you know what the inflationary effect of our economy has done to the pockets of the ordinary people, right? Even wealthy people feel it, and people want to opt out. They are looking for either a stable currency or a currency that can, protect them, or something that can protect them.
Right.
Bitcoin so far has been the best performing asset on earth, and that's why the US is going that route. Which way, Nigeria? This is the route we should be going now to help President Bola Ahmed Tinubu achieve that goal, stabilize our country's currency, stabilize our economy, boost our GDP, at the same time, protect our sovereignty. That's what OYE is trying to say. Right. Even via education, there must be sovereignty in education, so that you don't get colonized by nuances that may not eventually work in your favor, right? We don't also want, there's capital flight through stablecoins already, but we also don't want intellectual flight. We don't want
no more
flights. We want no everything to be here and out. Yes, we want money to come in.
Let the flights come in.
Yeah, let the flights come in.
Fantastic. All right, so definitely we've run out of time, at this point, but we've unpacked a lot, and I guess the conversation, will keep going, at this point. But it was great having you both. Thank you so much. Olusegun Akushemani is the Chief Executive Bitcoin Manager, Bought Me Cash. Oye Shobawale Benson, Sovereign Blockchain Architect. Thank you both for coming and unpack this for us. Thank you.
Thank you,
Laddie.
Bye.
All right, we'll take a moment now. All right, let's get a quick check now on what's playing out in global space. You see, Spain's European Union harmonized inflation rate decreased to 3.1% in November from 3.2% in October, according to preliminary data released today by the National Statistics Institute. The November inflation figure came in above the 2.9% rate economists had predicted in a Reuters poll. Core inflation, which excludes volatile items such as fresh food and energy prices, stood at 2.6% year-on-year. The INE data showed on a national basis, Spain's 12-month inflation rate dropped to 3.0% in November, down from 3.1% in October. Then we see in France, France's economy expanded by 0.5% in the third quarter, according to final data released Friday by the National Statistics Office there, confirming the preliminary reading. The growth figure matched economists' expectations, with a Reuters poll of 25 economists having a forecast of 0.5% expansion for the Eurozone's second largest economy. Then in the UK, we see home sales that fell 4% over the 4 weeks ended November 23rd as buyers stayed away due to fears of higher property taxes in the upcoming budget, according to real estate agency Zoopla. Buyer demand dropped 12% compared to the same period last year. Let's take it over to Germany now. German import prices fell by 1.4% year on year in October, according to data released by the Statistics Office. The decline was less severe than the 1.6% decrease economists had forecast in a poll. And that's it. That's the show today. Remember, T+2 cycle, that begins today, meaning once you trade that stock, you get settlement in 2 days, different from the T+3 we've been running for the longest time. We'll give you updates at 1:30 p.m. on Business Incorporated, how investors are taking this new cycle. I'm Ladi Williams. Bye for now.